Hello internets. In this video I'm going to try to take the first step in air layering some of my parents' trees in preparation to move some new trees to Wiscasset. And I'll be using these root pods that I got from where else? Kickstarter. You're watching Reanderthal. I'm new to air layering, but as I understand it, this is a process whereby you get a plant to form new roots at a place where there aren't any, so that you can then trim that off and move it to somewhere new. I'll be using these root pods, which is how I heard about air layering, but you can actually do this with much simpler materials like plastic bags and cellophane. But I'll be using these root pods and we'll see how that goes. The trees that I'll be trying to air layer are in different stages of reawakening here in the spring. I'm going to start with this cornelian cherry, which has already bloomed. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut all the way around the bark in two slices about an inch apart. And I'm going to peel away the outer bark and the cambium and scrape down. So that was pretty easy. And now I guess I want to scrape this down until it's nice and white. And I guess that's going to prevent the sugars that form that come from the leaves. It's going to prevent them from getting down to the roots, and so I guess some new tissues are going to form to make those roots. Let's see how this goes. I guess you want to scrape this down until it's nice and white. That's what they seem to have said on the internet. I really don't know here if I've scraped down too far or not far enough. Oh, is that wider? It's really hard to say. Now I'm going to apply this rooting hormone, which came with the root pods, liberally to this cut. Ooh. Kind of a goopy mixture. So I'm applying that liberally. Okay. Now, I've got this bag of peat and sphagnum moss, which again came with the root pods. And I'm going to pack this into the plastic pod. And from other videos on the internet, it seems like you want to pack this pretty tightly. Because you don't want gaps to be, you don't want a gap where the roots are going to try to form. So I've packed that in. Okay. Now, close that root pod up. Maybe that was too wet, I don't know. Come on now, there we go. Snap that shut. And apparently we'll know this is ready to be trimmed off when we start to see little white root tips at the edge of the dark translucent plastic. And I'm just going to prop this branch up with a forked stick. This is a Cornelian cherry, a Cornus moss, and we've got one coming that we're going to plant in Wiscasset, but you get better fruit production with two, since they're not necessarily self-fertile. I think the one we have coming is supposed to be, but this one is not, but hopefully we'll get more fruit with two. This is a honeyberry, which is a cool bush because it fruits so early here in Maine. We've gotten fruit from it the past couple of years in the first week of June. We will need to do a second one later in order to get fruit. I don't think they're self-fertile, but we'll start with this one now. Again, we've got the peat and sphagnum moss. Pack that in. Rooting hormone gel. And now we snap on the root pod. So there's that guy, and again, we will leave it until we see little white root tips poking out at the edge of the plastic all the way around. This is a Fragrant Spring or neem tree, and the cool thing about this is apparently you can cook up and eat the leaves, and they taste like leeks. We haven't actually tried these yet. We were letting it grow bigger, but now we're going to make it a little smaller. There's only one bud down here that is really starting to leaf out, so hopefully this isn't too soon. And hopefully this branch is still alive, but we will see. Applying the rooting gel liberally. Yeah. Maybe I should have filled this first. Oh well. This is not an exact science, as I am doing it anyways. But we will see what happens. Okay. And closing the root pod over the wound. And we will see what happens. And last, we're going to go over to a little yellow horn. This is a yellow horn, which makes edible nuts, which apparently are too big for the squirrels to figure out. We'll see. And so let's give this one a shot. And now we will apply the root pod. So again, we're going to wait until we see the white tips of roots poking out all the way around this dark plastic, and then it'll be ready to cut off and transplant. This could take several months, I guess, so don't expect an update soon, but I will try to post an update when we have something to update. Thanks a lot.